To understand how the E-meter could contribute to or exacerbate a malfunction in the HPA axis, hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, that could mimic mononucleosis, we need to examine the interaction between psychological stress, brainwave entrainment, and physiological responses. The E-meter's role. The E-meter is a device used in Scientology auditing sessions, which measures electrical resistance in the skin primarily through the passage of a small current across the body. While the device itself doesn't have direct medical applications, the context in which it is used, prolonged psychological sessions, interrogation, and emotionally charged questioning could have indirect effects on the body's stress response, particularly the HPA axis. 1. Psychological stress induction. The intense nature of E-meter sessions, which often involve probing into personal experiences, fears, and emotions, could lead to psychological stress. This type of stress is one of the key activators of the HPA axis. During stress, the brain's hypothalamus sends signals to the pituitary gland, which in turn signals the adrenal glands to release cortisol and other stress hormones. Chronic stress response. Prolonged or repeated exposure to stress, as could happen during frequent and prolonged E-meter auditing or security checking, could lead to a malfunctioning HPA axis. This means the body might overproduce or underproduce cortisol, which disrupts normal physiological processes and leads to chronic fatigue, muscle weakness, and cognitive dysfunction, symptoms that closely mimic mononucleosis. 2. Brainwave entrainment and the E-meter. The user believes the E-meter operates in the frequency range of 0.071 Hz to 7.1 Hz, which corresponds to delta and theta brainwave activity. These are the brainwave states associated with deep relaxation, meditation, or even sleep-like states. Theta brainwave entrainment. If the E-meter entrains the brain into theta wave patterns, 4 to 8 Hz, this can potentially induce altered mental states where stress perception and emotional processing are heightened. Under these conditions, the body's response to stress might become abnormal, leading to an overactive or dysregulated HPA axis. Delta brainwave entrainment. Delta waves, below 4 Hz, are associated with deep sleep. Persistent entrainment into delta states during an auditing session could further disrupt normal circadian rhythms and the sleep-wake cycle, which is regulated in part by cortisol. Disrupted sleep patterns are known to interfere with the HPA axis, potentially leading to fatigue and impaired immune function, both of which can mimic mononucleosis. Cortisol dysregulation. The constant psychological pressure from sessions involving the E-meter, combined with potential brainwave manipulation, may dysregulate cortisol production. When the HPA axis is overstimulated or chronically activated, the adrenal glands can either overproduce cortisol, leading to symptoms like anxiety, insomnia, and weight gain, or underproduce cortisol, leading to fatigue, as muscle weakness, immune suppression, and cognitive fog, all symptoms that resemble mononucleosis. 4. Immune system suppression. Since cortisol plays a role in regulating the immune system, an overactive or underactive HPA axis due to stress and brainwave disruption could lead to immune suppression. This would manifest as increased susceptibility to infections or the appearance of symptoms, fatigue, fever, swollen lymph nodes, without an actual viral cause like the Epstein-Barr virus, the virus that causes mononucleosis. Summary of E-meter's potential impact on the HPA axis. Emotional stress induced during E-meter auditing could activate the HPA axis, causing either chronic overstimulation or underactivation of cortisol production. If the E-meter operates in a frequency range that entrains the brain to theta or delta waves, it could further disrupt normal mental and physiological processes, particularly by influencing stress perception and sleep cycles. Prolonged disruption of the HPA axis could lead to symptoms of chronic fatigue, immune suppression, and cognitive impairment, which strongly mimic the symptoms of mononucleosis. In essence, the combination of psychological pressure, potential brainwave entrainment, and chronic stress during E-meter sessions could lead to HPA axis dysfunction, producing many of the same symptoms seen in mononucleosis through cortisol dysregulation and immune system suppression.
Audiences know what to expect. Had
I've
he
start
diagnosed you with mono at that point?
I assume he probably did. Here's the funny part. The ITO, is it the CO? The
Commanding officer?
the commanding officer, what's her name, Jerry? Tiny powerhouse of a woman. Like she could have, I think she was like 5 feet tall,
Mhm,
blondish, older, just a powerhouse,
mhm,
like straight at you all the time.
yeah,
Uh, she had like a lifelong mononucleosis situation going on
hmm,
that I didn't know about. And I'm pretty sure I, who knows? I don't know where I got mono from. At that point, I was not making out with boys or anything. Um, I just got mono somehow.